KHOU 11 News at 5:30 starts now.
Thanks for joining us for this webcast to get you up to speed this Sunday evening. And we start with the weather, a late March cold snap. Looking live over the Gallery area, hovering around 53 degrees. In Galveston, a little bit warmer, but not by much. It's windy out there, too. In Galveston County, the Weather Service clocked gusts up to 42 miles an hour. Those are tropical storm force winds. The National Weather Service says skies will clear up later tonight with some places up north dipping into the upper 30s. Houston in the mid-40s and 50s on the coast. You'll want to bundle up the kids before sending them out to the bus stop tomorrow. Later this week, it's sunny on Tuesday. Chance for storms return on Thursday as we climb back into the 80s by Friday. You can download the KHOU app for a closer look at this forecast and to check the radar in your neighborhood. All that wind is causing new self-imposed shelter-in-place orders near the ITC chemical facility in the Deer Park area. The Nurion Battleground site is recommending employees stay inside. And while Harris County says the risk to the public is low, it is possible that high winds could stir up hazardous chemicals into the air. Fire inspectors will head to the site tomorrow. We are tracking 3 different horrible crashes this weekend. Sadly, all 3 turned deadly. A mom is fighting for her life tonight after surviving a crash that killed her 3 kids on this stretch of Highway 21 near Bastrop. That's near Austin. It happened on Friday. Huntsville ISD said the victims were a 6th grader, an 8th grader, and an 11th grader. A 4th girl who died was a family friend. The district says they had been driving to watch another family member perform at a drill team competition in San Antonio. This surveillance video is hard to make out, but it shows the moment the car was rear-ended at a high speed. It appears the other car didn't brake until less than a second before the impact, which makes troopers think it might have been a case of distracted driving. Troopers say another crash in Montgomery County killed 2 people and sent another person to the hospital. This was on FM 1485 near Ada Lane. The crash was head-on. Both drivers were killed. A passenger in the pickup was pulled from the wreck. He is in serious condition. And we've learned more about that deadly accident in the Heights last night. 2 people hit and killed by a car on North Shepherd near 8th. One of them was in a wheelchair. Investigators say the driver sped off after the accident and went to a family member's house. She came back to turn herself in. We're waiting to see if any charges will be filed. Former Vice President Joe Biden is facing new scrutiny over accusations of unwanted touching. Biden says he doesn't believe he's ever acted inappropriately with women, but says if he did, it was not intentional. Here's reporter Tony DeCopel.
Lucy Flores was a member of the Nevada legislature when she ran for lieutenant governor in 2014. Then Vice President Joe Biden visited the state for a pre-election rally. Flores says he approached her as she prepared to go on stage.
Out of nowhere, I feel Joe Biden put his hands on my shoulders, get up very close to me from behind, lean in, smell my hair, and then plant a slow kiss on the top of my head.
In an article in New York Magazine, Flores wrote that the incident made her feel uneasy, gross, and confused. On Sunday, Biden released a statement that read in part, "In my many years on the campaign trail and in public life, I have offered countless handshakes, hugs, expressions of affection, support, and comfort. And not once, never did I believe I acted inappropriately." White House advisor Kellyanne Conway noted that the allegation came from a fellow Democrat.
I think Joe Biden has a big problem here because he calls it affection and handshakes. His party calls it completely inappropriate.
Biden is said to be weighing a run for the White House, and Flores knows some will question why she waited until now to tell her story. But she says that's the point.
It does not belong in any kind of a professional setting, much less in politics, and that is something that we should consider when we are talking about the background of a person who is considering running for president.
Biden is expected to announce a decision on 2020 in the coming weeks. Tony DeCopel, CBS News, New York.
This day in history, it was 24 years ago today, March 31st, 1995, that Selena was murdered in Corpus Christi. The Tejano superstar was successfully crossing over into the pop world when she was shot and killed by her fan club president. Selena was just 23 years old. Her killer will be eligible for parole in 6 years. If you fly Southwest Airlines, get ready for flight cancellations through May. Southwest says it's scheduling flights through the end of May without using any of its 737 MAX 8s. The Texas-based airline has 34 of those planes. The FAA grounded all of them as Boeing rushes to correct a software problem believed to have caused 2 deadly crashes overseas. Well, they're calling him the fastest man in the country right now. Meet Strake Jesuit senior Matthew Bowling. The 18-year-old is the talk of the track and field world with his times on the track. The sprinter clocked a 100-meter dash in 10.22 seconds earlier this month and a 200-meter dash in 20.58 seconds. Those are the fastest times in the U.S. right now. And when you're the fastest, of course, you get a nickname.
At the first meet, some people call me the boogeyman. I don't know why. And then, like, someone said that I was being called the horseman, but I don't know. I've heard different stuff.
Coming up tonight at 10 o'clock, we'll hear more from the high schooler and why his parents think he's so fast. What does he eat before a winning race? Find out tonight on the Late News. And we want to thank everyone who came out to the McDonald's Houston Children's Festival this weekend. So many of you came out with your kids to enjoy the performances, rides, games, and food. The largest children's festival in America in its 31st year. A lot of kids were there to try out their broadcasting skills at the KHOU Kids News Desk. So much fun. I was there today meeting so many of you. The festival benefits Child Advocates, a nonprofit that helps kids in foster care.
All of our kids that we help have been removed from their homes due to abuse or neglect, and we train people to go and speak up for their best interest in courts and to make sure they have all their needs met while they're in foster care and to get them into a safe and loving home as fast as we can.
Well, this event started as a fundraiser 31 years ago, and it's grown every year since to become a real Houston tradition. Hey, well, thanks for tuning in for this special webcast. We'll see you tonight at 10 o'clock.